No worries.
Hello, hello. Hello, everybody. Welcome
Hi.
to the Ageless Lounge. This week we've got Angel Cornelius of Maison 276 with us, and I am super excited. Welcome, Angel. Welcome.
I'm so happy to be back. I feel like I have
Right?
to,
So,
we've known each other for a while, so I feel like I'm just catching up with an old friend.
right. Yeah, I think we met, wow, what is it? Maybe I've been on my journey for 7 years. I think I found you in year number three, I think.
I was thinking about that. I was like,
So,
it's 3 or 4 years?
yeah, I mean, it's been quite a while. Yeah. I hit 7 years in December, and I think the first 2 years we will use products that we will leave them nameless, right? And then I found yours, and I was like, oh yes,
Congratulations on everything, not just the
yes,
silver
yes, yes.
journey, Tangle Silver, just all the things, the sisterhood experience. I'm not sure what you envisioned
Oh,
when you started, but it's been wonderful to just watch your platform grow. And I feel like 2 years from now, we're going to be talking about even more things that you've created. So it's just super excited. And I'm super excited for you. And I just love watching the journey.
oh my gosh, thank you. I feel the same way with you, with like watching your journey. We'll get into that, but before we get into the good nuts, and I want to ask you the thing I always start off with, which is, what do you think? What does it mean to you when I tell you I think you're an ageless woman?
That's actually how I see myself because I don't think about my age unless someone asks me or I have to put it in context. I may mention something to maybe a millennial and get like a glazed over look, and it'll be like, oh yeah, that was before you were born. But I honestly do not think about my age unless I have to put it in context. I just don't walk around thinking, you're 65 today. I feel like I'm the same person I was, a better version of her for sure. But at my core, I'm the same person I was 30 years ago or maybe 40. I'm just a so much better version of her. And I'm
Right.
grateful for
You're
that.
Because you're full of all the wisdom that comes, right? Like we should be thankful that we get all this wisdom at a certain point in time, right? Like, yeah, I love that because that's how I feel. I don't measure things by what my birth date says I am. I measure things with how I feel and how I'm enjoying the moments and the days. It's kind of like
Yes.
that whole concept around, people say midlife and they define it by either your age or your hair color. And it drives me absolutely batty that it's defined by age and hair color. Like, what does any of that have to
Mid
do with
for
anything?
mid for who? Like who's deciding what the
Yeah,
midpoint is? Like
right.
it's kind of a I understand why that term exists, but it really no longer serves us.
Exactly. I would 100% agree. So then let's go back to a little bit about like sharing, because like I loved when I first met you, and discovered that you were like you had been in this totally different field, and you were in your kitchen putting together products for your own self hair care, and then you went from in the kitchen to QVC to all these amazing things. And I think it's amazing because again, you were in that what they call us the midlife, and we're starting chapters over. Will you share a little bit about how you got started? Because I mean, the product is amazing, and I love the story behind it because it wasn't like you intended to become
Right.
a hair care line.
Not at all. I'm very much the unintentional entrepreneur. I have been on this silver journey my whole life because my mother found my first strand when I was a little girl. I was so young, she was still combing my hair. And so as I have grown, the number of silvers have grown right along with me. So this hair and we've grown up together. And so, most of my adult life, I used products that really didn't serve me well, that I didn't like, but there was nothing else on the market. And, one of the things that I always say to people is having silver and blonde hair, because silvers and blondes are hair sisters. We have the same concerns, and that's how to keep our hair brilliant and bright, how to remove those brassy, dull overtones. It's because the hair lacks melanin. It's like wearing the same white dress every day. no matter how diligent you are in washing it, over time it's going to get dull and dingy. And that's the problem that all of us are solving for. And 99% of the products on the market are the category of products known as the purple shampoos, because they have these deep violet pigments there that are there to offset the dullness and discoloration. That's just a function of having colorless hair. But the problem is when you add color to colorless hair, it takes on those hues and you get what I call old lady blue hair. And so that is the problem that I was solving for. And I'd always been a DIYer, even before that was a term, right? I would buy products off the shelf, just like mix them up, whether it was from my hair or my skin, to create something that worked for me. And I just decided, and again, I was in my mid 50s, to just try and start something from scratch, because by then, at that point in time, you could literally order anything off the internet. It wasn't difficult to
Right.
secure raw products. And, I was a biology major my first 3 years of college. I've always loved science. And so just mixing things is not something that's foreign to me. I'm from New Orleans, and I love to cook, and our culinary culture is very layered, and some would say it's complicated. If you grow up doing it, it's just what you do. And so all of that just came very easy to me. And I created a system to take care of my hair. And it was not purple. All of the products were white. I was perfectly happy having something that could take care of my hair, also address the naturally occurring changes that take place with our hair as we mature. Because even if you don't get as much silver as you and I, your hair will still change, just like your skin. It changes as we mature, and the products we use
Mhm.
when we're 20 and 30 won't work for us when we're 40, 50, and beyond. So that was the other thing that I was solving for. And on accident, my friends found out that I was making beauty products and harassed me to make enough to sell to them. And they were my first customers. And I created an Etsy storefront just as a way to bring some structure to getting products to my
Mhm.
friends. And that is the beginnings of Maison, what we now know as Maison 276, and the three-step system for silver, gray, and blonde hair. At the time, I worked in healthcare. I was an administrator. That's where most of my professional career is. I had a very busy and demanding job. And so I would work that job during the week, 55 ish hours a week, sometimes 60, depending
Mhm.
on what, time of year it is. And to come home and
Right.
work the business at night, it got to the point where I needed a manufacturer. And it just took on a life of its own, Robin. It was like an unexpected child that I had. I have two children, but I always say Maison 276 was that third child that I wasn't quite
Yeah.
expecting, but I still love. But that still takes all of your time and attention. And I got to a point where I said I had to ask myself, because getting 4 or 5 hours sleep a night was just not sustainable. What would this look like if I gave it 100% of me instead of what's left of me at the end of the day? And that's when I took this huge leap of faith. It wasn't something I did very quickly or like spur of the moment. I actually thought it out. I decided in January that December would be my last month. So I was very strategic, and I gave myself a lot of time to just make the mental transition of what it meant to be a
Mhm.
full-time entrepreneur. And it's still far more than you could possibly imagine, no matter how much you may think you're planning. It is very difficult. It's a grind. I always say it's a marathon, not a sprint. Um,
Yep.
QVC did not happen overnight. Um, but that was, I would say, definitely a big break for us, because it gave me an
Mhm.
opportunity to show the wide range of women that can use the Maison 276 three-step system, because it's not a texture issue. We're solving for color and condition. And even though I
Yeah.
didn't intend to start a beauty brand, I wanted Maison 276. By the way, the name is inspired by my New Orleans roots. Maison, French for house, 276, the street address of the house where I grew up. But I wanted Maison 276 as a beauty brand to be what I feel like I didn't get from the beauty industry. And that was beautiful, vibrant, confident representation. Most brands for
Yes.
us, most brands that target middle-aged women are about age correction, right? Anti-aging, wrinkle reduction, youth
Yep.
serums. I'm not the silver police, so if you want to color your hair, go for it. But I
Right.
I wanted to celebrate us, not imply that there is anything wrong with us to be fixed. We are not a list of problems to be solved. We are women in our prime
Right.
and we deserve to be celebrated. And we have made Maison 276 a place where you can see yourself, no matter who you are, reflected in a way that's beautiful and vibrant, confident, ambitious, still with goals, still becoming.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, however you define yourself, I want you to see yourself represented beautifully and powerfully as a Maison 276 woman.
Yes. I mean, that's exactly why I so connected with you, because that was kind of my thing with the magazine too. It was, I was deciding to go silver, looking at the magazine pages because that was before COVID in the salons and going, there's no people here that have long silver hair like what I envision I want my hair to be like. And there's nobody that, I mean, it's all these little old ladies. And I love, don't get me wrong, I love my grandmothers. I love the Nonas. I'm a Nona myself. But as I was looking at this, I was the same way. I was like, what is all this representation that is so negative in embracing your natural colors, right? So that's again, well, there wasn't a magazine for it. So what did I do? I made a magazine that was going to really run and spot that for that exact reason, because we are not these outdated notions and stories that are still out there surfacing, right? And the more that we stand up and shout it, and like your product, I mean, I love the purple tones. I don't think I ever would say I had blue, old hair, blue haired lady, but my hair would take up those tones and I would get these purple streaks. And I remember my son-in-law looked at me one time and went, "Oh, you're going for purple this time around?" And I went, "Absolutely not. What do you mean?" Like I had enough that he's like, "Oh, you got purple tints in your hair." I was like, "Oh, I got to figure out what to do about that." And it was shortly after that that I really found you because,
Awesome.
again, my hair. If I use like I'm not a person, I can't use like the temporary colors because that temporary color is not temporary for me.
For
It's
you,
there for six,
it's a
seven more months.
sponge.
Like,
It's a
so
literal sponge. It just, yes, absolutely.
yes. And if you want that, that's great, right? For those
Right.
who love to add the extra fun colors, that's fab. But like if I want a fun color just for a quick little fix for a night or two, I have to go buy like the fake hair and
The
stick
clip
it, put it in
ins.
there with the
Yeah,
little
yeah.
clips.
Otherwise,
Because if
it's
I put it
permanent.
out, if I use that, yes, yes. So I'm like, so yeah, so I don't do that. So I love that, it's about the vibrancy and that more and helping more women realize that it's okay for us to not be quiet, right? Like
Yeah.
the stories of us having to be quiet for so long or be, oh, you talk too much or you're too loud. I mean, I think it's a
Mm,
great time for us to be able to say, no, that's the last thing we need to do is be quiet at this point in the game.
yes. I'm not too much. I am not too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean that's what we
Yes.
have to
That
embrace. You're not too much. You're not too much. You're just
yes.
fine. And maybe you just need another try.
Yes. Yes. I often wonder about all the young girls, because I was one of them that was told, oh, you're too chatty, Kathy, you're too loud, you're too, don't be so much, right? Truly that word, you're too much. And how much that affected me in my earlier days where I really was worried about being too much,
Yeah.
that I kept more shrunken than I probably needed to be. And it wasn't really until the freedom that kind of came with going, I don't really give a rat's what anybody thinks. I'm gonna let my hair go this, and if I don't like it, I'll color it, right? Because again, like you, I'm not anti-color. I colored for 26, 25 years. I'm just anti anyone saying I have to color to be relevant still.
Exactly. And that
Um,
is truly it. Giving women the space to be their authentic selves as opposed to tamping
yeah,
down your spirit, dulling your light because it makes someone else uncomfortable with where they are. And it's just time out for that. We have so much to give. We are so creative and so vibrant. And this, imagine if you had not started this magazine, imagine how many women would not be seeing a positive reflection of themselves. Instead, you've created a platform to celebrate that. And I just think we've just And what's interesting is that these changes that we are seeing, whether it's creating an innovative product to serve a community of women with silver and blonde hair because the industry didn't think enough of us to be innovative
Yep.
and to give us something that was
Yep.
more of a, because what's currently there is more of a problem than a solution, or waiting
Right.
for, the giant publishing houses to decide, we need a Tangle Silver. These movements,
Right.
these are grassroots born, grassroots created, and they're authentic. And I think, not I think, I am confident that that is why it resonates so strongly with women, because we are them. You are the, so it's not like
Yeah.
you don't have to go to a marketing company to say, I wonder what that 50 plus year old woman thinks about, fill in the blank. You're that
Right.
woman. And your community, you have a
Exactly.
community of women who are talking to you. Same as with the Maison 276 community, there's crossover. We can all build together because we all have the same
Yep.
goals, and that is creating space
Yes.
for women to be their authentic selves, no matter what that means for that individual woman, and to celebrate her.
Yes. Yes. Isn't it nice to think like, some people think there's not enough pie for everybody, and I'm one who thinks there's enough pie for everybody.
There's
No,
no
I don't think there's
pie.
not. There's enough pie for
I don't
everybody,
think
right?
there's a
It's like
pie.
it's
I think that's something someone
I just
thought of, because they come from a
yeah.
spirit of lack instead of the spirit of
Yeah.
abundance and joy and growth. Yeah, I don't think there's a pie. I'm convinced of it now. There's no
Yeah.
pie.
So I kind of like that because I'm always like there's plenty of pie for everybody, and I do like the thought of you just take the pie and totally throw it. It's like I always say I have room at my table for everybody, right? There's room at my table for everybody. I will find a seat for you. Like come join,
We'll build a bigger
come
table.
join us. It's right, right. It's easy enough to do that. I mean, it is a time where we have to be celebrated and not afraid to be celebrated, and just give that time. I can remember somebody said, "Well, what's your tagline going to be?" When I was starting, I'm like, "Well, I'm going to say, embrace yourself, celebrate her, be inspired." And then I was kind of like, and again at the same time, like what is this? What is it so caught up with? I mean, especially in the 50 plus range, we have such strong buying power that
Oh,
wasn't being recognized for our needs, right? Like we have buying power that the bigger companies were still trying to sell us with the younger models. And don't get me wrong, those younger models are beautiful. But when you're trying to sell me a skin product, telling me that it's going to help all my wrinkles from a 20-year-old who doesn't have any wrinkles, I didn't have wrinkles at 20. Great. Like she's beautiful.
right.
But show me somebody like me
Yes.
who's using it and will tell you the same thing. And that's a whole different story. And for whatever reason, the larger media has really had a hard time in knowing how to embrace the fact that we are the power sources. I think we're the powerhouses when it comes to our incomes,
Oh,
right? Like the
absolutely. The
majority of women
statistics,
are the ones who
yes,
spend.
the statistics bear that out.
Yeah,
Like that's not even a disputable fact.
right,
Like the statistics
right.
bear that out. But they have chosen. I think many, for a long time, the beauty industry. I'm gonna say this, for a long time, the beauty industry benefited by making women feel bad about themselves.
Hmm. Yep.
And we are no longer buying that narrative. And so when you don't,
Yes. I would.
when you start pushing back on the narrative, then it forces them to change, but they change very slowly, which is goes back to my point about indie brands and grassroots publications like Tangle Silver really being the drivers behind this, what I call silver revolution. And I don't, when I say
Yeah.
silver, it's not about hair color. I'm really not talking about
Yeah.
hair color. I'm talking about the collective of middle-aged women, or women that are 50
Yes.
plus. Because again, what's the
Yes.
middle?
I think, yeah, I think that's so hard because a lot of people when they hear silver, they automatically go to the hair color, right? Like they'll go, "Oh, you do a magazine about silver hair," and I'm like, Well, yes, it celebrates silver hair and there's silver, but there's so much more because it's
Yes,
a silvering lifestyle. It's all the menopausal things, the emotional things, the taking care of parents, taking care of grandchildren. It's like all these things that come into play
absolutely.
are about the silvering lifestyle. It's not just a color of hair. But if you're going to talk about color, why does it have to be? Why can't you play with it just like any other color in the crayon box, right? Why is gray the like, ooh, the taboo one, right? Like we have to, we're
Nobody
supposed to
said that
run from
about
that
purple
one.
or blue or green hair or pink hair
Right,
because they
right,
understand like, oh,
right.
it's a style choice. And honestly,
Yes.
that's what we are making. It's just a style choice. We are just like our narrative on how we're embracing it is different than what we've been told. So there's a disconnect,
Mhm.
right? Like, oh no, that's not what, and we're like, no,
Yes.
no, no, no. We're changing the narrative on that. These are style choices
Yes.
that we're proudly making, and we just, yeah, it's honestly not as complicated as they try to make it, I think.
I would agree with that. I think it's still we're still stuck in a area where there are still I love men, don't get me wrong, but there's still a lot of men making the decisions when it comes to some of those platforms,
The
right? And
marketing,
they're not embracing it as much as the women that are living it are. We're like, no, come on, meet me in my meet me halfway in the middle at least. Don't be over here. And I think it's still a little bit of a struggle just because that's just kind of change is hard for everybody, right? I mean, even I don't know, I'll ask you when I'm talking to a woman who's telling me she's on the fence, it's always that scared about what ifs. What if it looks dull? What if I don't? What if it ages me? What if I? And I'm always like, but what do you feel inside? Like, do you want to give it a try? Because again, worst case scenario, you don't like it, you color. I mean, when I started my journey, I went on. I said, okay, I'm going to give this 2 solid years to see what it actually looks like. And if I don't like it, I'll color it.
yeah.
The 2 years came by, and I was like, what was I doing all those years spending money coloring? This is great. Like,
And I think, well, there are two things there. You know, social media has helped a lot of people with the choice and the
mhm,
transition because a lot of women,
yep,
I don't have any transition photos to share because I've had this hair for so long, but I am
yeah,
very grateful to people like and I'll use their Instagram names. Trey's going gray, Yo goes gray,
beautiful. Yep,
um,
yep,
Great Days Ahead, because they chronicled
yeah,
their grow out. And so, and these are women across multiple ethnicities, but they chronicle the grow out so you could see how beautiful, you saw the roots at
yes,
first, and then you just saw,
yeah,
and as it kept growing, you're like, you know what this is going to look like, and this is going to be stunning. And so I really
yeah,
appreciate their transparency and vulnerability in showing that, because
yes,
it really encouraged, and I tell this to Tracy all the time, more women than they will ever know. Women who don't comment in the
oh,
feed, or they just see the pictures.
yeah,
And of those three women that I mentioned, one of them transitioned because she saw somebody else do it. She saw someone who,
yeah,
like, oh, I
yeah,
have hair like that. That's what mine will look at like. Oh, I can totally take this journey if that's what it's going to look like at the end. And I think with a lot of other women, and I'll just talk about conversations that I've had. Um,
yeah,
Oftentimes, the struggle is more with their circle than with them.
mhm,
What their husband would say, with their children. I'm amazed at the number of women who say their children don't want them to be silver, don't want them to stop
right,
coloring their hair.
yeah,
But I also know that there are children who have encouraged their parents because they've seen the social media trend, and they're like, oh my God, this is beautiful, mom,
yeah,
you should do this, you would look awesome. So they're both sides of it. But a lot of women are still burdened by the opinions of others. And
mhm.
as long as that weighs more heavily than what you think, it will always be difficult to make decisions that make you happy in any aspect of your life.
Right, yeah.
Hair being the
No,
least.
I would agree with that. I would say, like, yeah, I can remember telling my friends that I was going to do it. I was telling them just so they knew, like, yeah, I'm gonna go cold turkey and let this happen. They were like, oh, Robin, I can't do that with you. And I was like, I didn't ask you to do it with me. I was just telling you what I'm doing. I mean, if you want to, great. But I mean, literally, a couple of them were like, "But I can't do that with you," and I'm like, "And that's okay. I don't expect you to do it with me." Now, in that word, my circle at that point in time when I was doing this, I had been doing my wine parties at that point in time, doing a lot
Okay.
of wine. I did Sip on Life magazine, and I did wine. So we were doing a lot of wine tasting. So I was with a lot of women that we were tasting wine. It was like that's what we did. So the concept of all of a sudden I'm not doing wine anymore and I'm going to go silver. I'm going to create a silver magazine. They were like, "Well, Robin, I can't do that with you." I'm like, "Well, that's okay. You don't have to do it with me. You can still support my decision, but you don't have to do it with me."
Yeah.
But but it is that concept. And I was fortunate. My husband was very supportive. He actually had been saying for years just to do it. My daughter, however, was the one who pushed me over the fence because I mentioned to her she had like 9 months away from her wedding, and I said, "Hey, honey, I'm thinking about letting my silvers come in. Would you rather I wait till after the wedding?" And my daughter's like, "Mom, girls my age are paying for it. Just go for it." And I was like,
That's
"Okay." My
beautiful.
husband's like, "Oh, sure, you listen to the daughter, not me." And it was
Beautiful.
great. Although it was funny because I in my mind in 9 months I was gonna have that full head of silver. It wasn't there in 9 months, right? If you look at
It
the wedding
never
pictures,
grows anymore.
I
Right.
still look really blonde, right? It's that playing that game with you, right? You decide to not color anymore, and then the growing process suddenly seems like it slows way down. Whereas when you're coloring, boy, your
It's
hair seems to
like,
grow
yeah,
really
I
fast
never
because those
thought of
roots need
it.
to get covered.
I never thought of that. That's true. That's true.
I think it's our hair playing games with us. Our hair is finally like, it's my turn to get even now. You've been putting all this stuff on. It's my turn to play the game. And now you're on my timetable now.
I never thought about that. Well,
But
kudos
yeah,
to
it was
your
hilarious.
daughter. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, she was definitely the biggest part. She was also there last year at the first sisterhood experience, running all the back end stuff for me, running around taking care of lunches. She's been such a trooper with the whole understanding the messaging that we wanted to share and being a part of it at the best she can with her own life and four boys,
Oh, wow.
11 and under.
Oh,
Yeah, we she's got them 11, 7, 4, and 3, all boys.
wow.
So I like to
Wow.
tell you that my grandsons will tell you I have Elsa hair, and I love that. Like when somebody said, "Well,
Oh,
what do your kids or
yes. And
grandkids
you
think?" I'm
know
like,
how the boys
"I have
feel about
Elsa hair,
Elsa. Right.
right? I'm happy to, I will take that."
Yes.
So
Yes.
tell me, what what is probably one thing that you have really maybe didn't expect when you went on this journey with Maison and creating the product? Like, what is something that just really you didn't expect it, and it's been just such like like the aha moment for you, or the maybe it's somebody like what has been one thing really from this journey with Mason 276 that you really think people should get or understand about your journey there?
There are a couple of things. I mean, there's so many things that I am grateful for. First of all, when even like I was 5 years ago, if let yeah, 10 or let's see that I'm six, yeah, 10 years ago, if you had said these products that, the stuff that you're making in the kitchen, just using for yourself, like you're gonna be in Walmart, I would not,
Right.
I wouldn't have been able to connect the dot. Like I would not have seen how it's possible to go from pots and pans to like I wouldn't have had a clue as to how that would happen. Like before there were customers, but when it was, because like I said, my friends found out by accident. I'd been doing it
Friends.
quite a while. If you had just whispered that in my ear, I just could not have. I wouldn't have been able to connect the dots. Um, the
Yeah.
community of women that are now a part of my life, including you, that I would never have known because our worlds would never
Yeah.
have collided. And, you know,
Yes.
technology makes a lot of this possible because there are women that I feel like are friends that I have never met in person. But through Maison
Yep. Yep.
276,
Absolutely.
they first were customers, then brand ambassadors, and then friends. And so it's just this
Yeah.
amazing community of women that are now a part of my life. And my life is so enriched by you that is the thing that I am most grateful for. And I am still taken back, oftentimes to the point of tears, when I get an email from someone or a DM.
Ooh, it just froze up. Let's see if you bounce back.
And I'm sorry, would you
I said
say? I,
you clicked off for just a minute, so
okay,
you
but you,
clicked
I know
off for a
you're
minute. So I lost you when you were saying about the email. Yeah,
gonna. Okay, okay, all right. And I'll just start over because I know you're going to edit. I am still taken aback
yeah,
when I get an email or a DM from a customer and they share how they were afraid to embrace their silver, but they trusted me for the journey. And now they couldn't see themselves any other way. Or, they
yes,
feel so much better about themselves. Or, I used to hate my hair. Now I love my hair. Because
yeah,
because
yeah,
I feel like I've been played a little role in helping her love herself more. And that is the thing
yes, and
that I all of those, it was hard to say one thing, Robin, but those are things that I guess I didn't expect, um, that it would impact me so much emotionally every single time I read something like that. And I save them. If it's an email, I literally have an email
yeah.
folder for of every one of those
I do
messages.
too.
And when I am
I do
having
too. I
a
actually have them
rough
sometimes on
day,
bulletin boards.
when I am having a rough
You reach.
day or rough week or whatever, I just go to that inbox and I just read those messages. And sometimes two or three,
Yes,
sometimes I'll read 10, um, because they
yeah.
really fuel me. And it's like, okay, okay, this is why we
So
do this.
I I yeah, and I think that I really want to say to everybody who's listening to this right now, so reach out to us because I feel the same way. I do the same thing. Although there are times where I actually print them out and I will have them stapled all over my bulletin board area, and I'll keep those. And I'm like, okay, I better put those away. And I file them and like I have the actual full paper because I'm still old school in that way. But like, reach out to us because I don't think like we sometimes don't know how we're reaching somebody, and they don't understand how when they send those take those minutes to tell us about what
Mhm.
they feel like they've gotten from my magazine, from your Carol,
Yeah,
it's just as rewarding for us
yeah, yeah,
when we hear from them as well and know that the work that we're doing has helped them in some manner. And this community, I think is I've been a part of a lot of communities, right? But this community of women embracing natural hair and midlife, just there's something kind of magical about it because they really are so embracing like because I have women in Italy I've never met and
yes,
they get the magazine digitally and I mean it's fun to know that you're reaching people from all walks of life because
yes,
silver is not anymore, silver doesn't isn't what is the word I'm looking for, silver doesn't decide who to pick and choose, right? It's not just for older people because there are a lot of younger women like you said you had it when you were a child. So I love that there's no priority. Silver's not like, ooh, I like you, not you. It's just kind of fun and it brings us all together. Um, and what starts off as maybe a connection because it's somebody that's got hair that you would like, right? Suddenly turns into such a deeper relationship. Tracy, again, I found her and I love to share this because I believe still this day I was the first magazine she was ever in. I think is what she told me that and it was her hair. She was in the middle of her journey and I was like, wow, it's
you
beautiful.
could see
And I
what it was
loved how
coming
bold she
being.
was about she yes. And she wasn't cutting it and she
Right.
was cold turkey and just letting it happen. And it was so beautiful to watch her journey go from the demarcation line. And some
And
people are
it
afraid of
was
those
really,
demarcation lines,
really
but I
black.
love it.
Yeah, it was jet
It
black,
was
so it was very, very stark.
oh she
But I
yeah
think that's what made it so beautiful.
yes
I really do. And
oh
she's
my
just
gosh
as
yes.
sweet on the inside. She really is.
She really is. She is super sweet. So let's say, so that now we've said a couple, we've hit on a couple times. So these days we can pretty much find Maison 276 in Walmarts, right?
In Walmart, if you go
Quite a
to
few of
the
them are
Maison,
Walmarts across the US.
Yes, we are it's a nationwide launch. If you go to the Maison 276 website, we have a store locator page, and you can just put in your zip code and it will tell you the store nearest you. And if it's further than you want to drive,
Yep.
which, I'm an internet shopper myself, I understand. They deliver so fast, like it will make your head spin. They deliver so fast.
That's awesome.
But also on Walmart, I'm
That's
sorry,
well,
Walmart and Amazon as
no.
well. And
Okay, yeah.
Amazon.
Well, I
Yes.
love it. Like I told you, when I heard that they were in Walmart, I checked my local. So I'm in Northern Colorado, everybody. There is a Walmart in Loveland, Northern Colorado that has it. I ran right out to go see it. You'll probably see pictures on both my social feeds and Angels because I sent him to going, it's here. So
Yes.
Angel,
And it is
thank
my
you
goal
so much
to
for spending
make
some time with
it
us again
to
today.
everyone. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I always say, look for me in those aisles because you never know. I'm just lurking around the Walmarts all over the country, just showing up.
Right, right. Well, we hope to catch you in Colorado at one of those Walmarts as well, and maybe even at the Sisterhood Experience. Maybe we'll see if we can make that work. But thank you for
Absolutely.
today,
Thank you.
everybody. Follow Angel on Instagram, Facebook. If you're on LinkedIn, connect with her over on LinkedIn. You're on LinkedIn, correct? Yes, you
I
are.
am on LinkedIn, and
This is a woman that you want to know.
I also have a YouTube channel called The Beauty of Aging. If you just Google my name, it will come up.
Mm,
And we talk about
yep.
everything that's important to the woman who is unapologetically growing bolder. Sometimes it's silver hair, sometimes it's
Yes.
lifestyle, wellness, whatever you guys want to talk about. And you can join me. I live stream every Friday. I know you joined me a couple of Fridays,
Friday.
which is pretty early for
Yep.
you. Every morning, every Friday
I
morning.
try. I try. I don't always succeed. I
I
try.
said, I understand that's very early for you. Every Friday
Yeah.
morning, I go
But you know
live,
what? I
live for
yes,
coffee with
you have to check out
Angel.
our lives on Friday morning because yes, and
We have a
it's
lot of
truly you,
fun.
and that's what I love about those angels. Those aren't rehearsed, and that I think is so much fun
I'm
because
standing in my
you get to see
kitchen.
the person behind the brand. Yep,
I'm
yep.
standing in
I
my
love those. I
kitchen.
do love them.
I'm
All
a
right,
good coffee lover, so join me 10 o'clock Eastern.
10 o'clock Eastern time, which in Colorado time is eight
Early.
o'clock in the morning. I won't even try the other ones. You can all figure it out. 10 o'clock Eastern time. Check it out for yourself so you can be there and join her on those. So thank you, Angel, and we
Thank
will all see you
you.
next time.
Thank you so much. Absolutely.